Hello, it's another one of these, unfortunately. WWE coming to terms on the release of multiple WWE and NXT backstage personnel, as well as some superstars, and it all is ongoing as well, so I don't know, we don't know how this is going to end up. We've got a few names that have been released over the last couple of hours, but some of those wrestler names, and I'll go through them all very shortly, and I'm sure I'll go through them plenty of times tonight, happening within the last 10-15 minutes or so. So if you are just tuning in now, first of all, I'll go through the backstage personnel. So you've got William Regal, perhaps the biggest name on this list, somebody that I think a lot of us considered to be a WWE lifer, and obviously his role was being changed a lot with NXT 2.0. And things have obviously changed significantly there. But it's a weird one with Regal because he has been there for so long. He was also working as the Director of Talent Development and Head of Global Recruiting. But their hiring policies have changed massively in the last 6 or so months. But if you can't find a place for William Regal in your company, then that is very surprising, to say the least. Also, on the production side of things, Road Dogg has been released. Somebody very close to Triple H, who was obviously running NXT, no longer is running NXT in NXT's 2.0 form, along with Ace Steel and writer Ryan Katz. Have all been released. Dave Kapoor, who you may not be familiar with his name, but you might be familiar with his on-screen work. He had gone down to NXT. He formerly managed the Great Khali as Ranjin Singh. He has been released as well. WWE releasing a statement regarding those backstage personnel, saying, with the continued evolution of NXT 2.0, we've decided to part ways with some of the staff based in our performance center. We thank them for their many contributions throughout the years and wish them the best. So that's it so far, at least as far as we know, for backstage personnel. But from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com, some new names have been announced. You can see one there in the thumbnail. Perhaps the biggest name so far, and again, hopefully this is it, Timothy Thatcher has been let go from WWE. Fightful have confirmed that with WWE. He's not really been on TV much as of late, but he'd been helping coach backstage, but he has been let go by the company. Another one, which I actually think is a bit of a surprise, just because he's part of the Diamond Mine faction, who obviously took a big loss yesterday with Roddy dropping the Cruiserweight title in that unification match, but Hideki Suzuki has been released by WWE, also confirmed by Fightful. WWE have confirmed that to Fightful, rather. Another one, unfortunately, Danny Burch. Somebody, again, hasn't been on TV much in recent times. He'd also been helping coach backstage. And these names, the three that I've just gone through there, Suzuki, Thatcher, Burch, they're three like proper legit looking wrestlers. Do you know what I mean? They stand out as sort of just professional wrestlers. I think you know what I'm saying here. In the WWE's direction is clearly changing so much, and they've openly stated, and they've launched that new scheme as well recently, looking for like college athletes who then want to transition to sports entertainment. But these were like three wrestlers. I can see somebody who's Danny Burch. You may remember him teaming with Oney Lorcan. Danny Burch, he's just a very, very tough man and a very, very talented wrestler. Also, Kathy Carino, who you may know as Allison Danger, has been let go by WWE. Those are all confirmed via Fightful. WWE confirming those names to Fightful, and Sean Ross Sapp has posted them in the last 10 or 15 minutes over on Twitter. So if you are just tuning in now, I'll go through those again. They're all gutting. It's obviously crap when people lose their jobs. But William Regal, a guy who has been with the company for so long, transitioned away from being an active performer to be the on-screen general manager. So he was written off NXT TV by Karrion Kross ahead of the match with Joe at TakeOver 36. He's been with the company now for 22 years, consistently since 2000. 2022 now, 22 years-ish. A long time guy, and again, somebody that I really thought would be with the company for the long term, and it shows you just how much things are changing. This will only add, of course, to the speculation that WWE may be looking to sell the company as well. Every time these releases, these batches of releases happen, we end up talking about that. And I just think every time that this does happen, it appears more and more likely. And I know a lot of people agree with that. You've also got Road Dogg, who had been coaching and producing. Again, a very, very close friend of Triple H, a man who I believe it's been reported in the past helped him get that job, and specifically with regard to where he is in the company, it's pretty likely. But with Triple H no longer overseeing NXT, it appears that that doesn't concern them. So Road Dogg is gone. Chris Guy, aka Ace Steel, he's not been at the Performance Center for too long, since 2019. He was the original trainer of CM Punk. CM Punk yet to comment, but we're starting to see wrestlers tweet about what is going down at the moment. These have been happening over the past few hours. Dave Kapoor, again, aka Ranjin Singh, on-screen manager of the Great Khali. He used to have a very senior position within the company, actually. Former senior vice president of creative. And then he was moved to NXT full-time last year to work on creative there. And now he's gone. So he's I guess he took what may be seen as a demotion in the first place. Unfortunately, now no longer employed by the company. Ryan Katz is the next name, a long-serving NXT producer. He taught promo classes at the Performance Center. And then on the wrestlers side of things, as far as on-screen talent goes, you've got Timothy Thatcher, who joined WWE not that long ago. It might have even been last year. Yeah, God, was it 2021 or was it 2020? He's not been there for too long at all. Obviously, he was Matt Riddle's tag team partner. They went on to have that excellent Fight Pit match with Angle as the special guest ref. He was written off TV all the way back in August. Ridge Holland attacked him. And he's been coaching backstage in the meantime. Then you've got Hideki Suzuki, joined in April as a performance coach, and then he was brought to TV as part of Diamond Mine, alongside Roddy, the Creeds, Ivy Nile, and Bivens is there obviously as well. Formerly in Big Japan, Wrestle One. 2020. Sorry, it was 2020, wasn't it? Timothy Thatcher, that is. Danny Burch as well, the one half of the Britam Brawlers with Oney Lorcan, former NXT Tag Team Champion as recently as 2020 as well. He was the one that suffered the shoulder injury, if you remember that, in March, and then the titles were vacated. But he did return in September. Anyway, Oney Lorcan was released as a part of a big batch late last year in November, I believe. And finally, Kathy Carino, a.k.a. Allison Danger, who was a Performance Center coach. She only joined in October. She's not been there very long at all. She was forced to retire early as a result of brain lesions after a stroke, it says here. She was a very important part, in fact, of Shimmer and Ring of Honor's early women's divisions as well. And then, so that's the list. That's the list so far. And hopefully, again, I say this every time. I know you're bored of me saying it, but hopefully that's it. I really mean it. These are horrible videos to do. It's always really, really gutting when you hear that talent has been released. A few wrestlers have started tweeting about this now. We're seeing various backstage staff as well make social media posts. You've got Scotty 2 Hottie, who's recently just done a Desert Island Graps with Tom, if you want to listen to that. Scott Garland tweeting, heartbreaking, but there is life after the machine, and it's a beautiful thing. I love you all. Really interesting stuff. I'd really recommend you listening to Desert Island Graps, where he goes into detail about his departure from the company. And he ended up just, he'd been there for a long time, was loved by everyone as well. Like people loved having him backstage, and he trained so many people. He's back on the indie scene now, looking amazing, by the way. But it's obviously like a lot of his friends were released, people that he had very close relationships with, and he goes into detail about that on the thing anyway. Johnny Gargano as well, somebody that left WWE very recently. We get to see where he's going to pop up. Has tweeted, "If it wasn't for William Regal, a lot of your favourite guys wouldn't be on television. He got so many of us indie guys an opportunity. He will never take credit for that, but he deserves his flowers for helping and moulding this generation of wrestlers. Hashtag thank you Regal." So really nice words. He's also accompanied that with a picture of himself, Regal, and Ciampa there when they were DIY and NXT Tag Team Champions. And Alistair Danger, in fact, so who's just been released now, has just tweeted saying, "Thank you, Matt Bloom. Thank you, Shawn Michaels. Thank you, WWE. The ride was short but absolutely amazing. I'll forever be grateful for your warmth and giving this old gal a shot at living her dream." Really nice words in very unfortunate circumstances. So I'll go through the list once more again because there are just so many. I'm not going to go into the details. I'll probably do that later in the stream if I stick around. So you got William Regal, Road Dogg, Chris Guy, aka Ace Steel, Dave Kapoor, aka Ranjin Singh, Ryan Katz. That's the backstage lot who have been released. And then you've got the on-screen personnel, although some of these we've not seen in recent months. Timothy Thatcher, Hideki Suzuki, Danny Burch, and Kathy Carino as well backstage. So yeah, it's just crap, isn't it? It's really, really rubbish. Pete Dunne's just put out a fascinating tweet that maybe you could read into this. I believe that Pete Dunne re-signed in fairly recently, so maybe don't read too much into it, but certainly an interesting one. Pete Dunne has just tweeted, "To be continued," and it's pictures of himself and Regal getting into their scuffles over the past few years. And sorry, one more that I skipped past there on that list. I do apologise, but Scott Armstrong as well, he's a guy who's been with the company for some time as well. Scott Armstrong has also been released by the company. So that is it so far, and fingers crossed. That's the lot. Raquel Gonzalez has just put out a tweet that I believe she is referring. I believe she's referring to the backstage, the people who have helped her and who have trained her and all that sort of stuff here. Some people are sort of speculating that they believe that she's been released. There's certainly no confirmation of that at the moment. To me, this reads like she's referring to the people that she's worked with in NXT. But she tweets, "The people who believed in me, who helped me see a light when it was all going dark, who shared their wisdom and gave me an opportunity, who always felt like family. I love you all. We will always be family." So yeah, make of that what you will. But I do believe that she's referring to the people backstage. But yeah, really, some of them, I guess, yeah, they haven't been seen on TV, and with NXT changing so much, it's not that big a surprise, but it's always still gutting to hear. And like William Regal, especially, who's been there for so long and has worn so many different hats over the course of his tenure with the company. I've just seen we've had some super chats. Cheers. I meant to get rid of those for the stream, but thank you very, very much. Stephen, just when NXT did a great show last night, they pulled this on us. Really disappointed about this. This one really hurts to hear. Yeah, it always is, isn't it? And it follows reports that releases were coming, and so we don't know if this is it or not. They've obviously pruned a bunch of talent last year, like 100 names or something across WWE and NXT. So this is the first batch from this year. Tony Storm happening just before New Year. Danny Merritt, "How could anyone support this company is beyond me. Treats talent like dogs and then cut them when they're bored. beyond disgusting. Punk was right. It'll be really interesting to see what Punk has to say about Ace Steel, a guy that he's still really close with, a guy who's just been released by the company. If you're just tuning in, I can see a few people asking for it. I'll go through the list really, really quickly again. So you got William Regal, Road Dogg, Scott Armstrong, Chris Guy, aka Ace Steel, Dave Kapoor, Ranjin Singh, Ryan Katz, Timothy Thatcher, Hideki Suzuki, Danny Burch, and Kathy Carino, aka Allison Danger. Smarty, audible sigh, really sad to hear, but not surprising. No, they no longer are surprising. Shouldn't be that way, should it? Jack Rogers, do you think Triple H will leave? Obviously, he's, I don't want to speculate. He's got a, he's recovering at the moment, and hopefully he's doing great and everything, and he's mending. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when he comes back. He's obviously very, very valuable to the company still, just from an on-screen capacity. But what his role will be. Obviously, Shawn Michaels is still heading up things, not necessarily heading up things, but still doing stuff at the Performance Center. So will he go and just sort of work closer with Shawn? I really don't know the answer to that, but it might be a little bit away. So yeah, who knows? Adam Warrington. Evening, Adam. I hope you're well, mate. I was lucky enough to meet Regal once, and he was a true gent. This one really sucks. I've never met the guy. I've seen him poking his head through the curtain at a Progress show maybe 5 years ago, before they really started signing a hell of a lot of British indie talent when he was doing the director of talent development and global recruiting stuff. And he used to just go to the indie shows, like he would go to Progress shows or ICW shows or Evolve shows or whatever. And just sort of cherry pick. And he obviously knew what he was looking for as well, because some of the biggest signings in recent memory as far as NXT goes, and some of the biggest names on NXT have been completely because of William Regal. So yeah, it's a real shocker to see him go. Very interested to see what he'll end up doing next. Connor Richardson, this sucks. Regal is definitely in my boy stable. Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome, isn't he? It is so sad. Mark, Happy New Year from WWE. I'm going to miss watching the Rumble, but I absolutely refuse to give them any money anymore. It's amazing the number of people that say this stuff. And it used to be like, because when we were frustrated with creative, I remember saying this like 7-8 years ago before I was doing this job. I was like, oh, I'm done with this. And it's like, yeah, see you next Monday for Raw. But the number of people that are actually dropping off, cancelling their WWE Network subscriptions, not bothering with the TV programs, with the pay-per-views. They might tune in for like Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or something like that. People really are tuning out now. It is happening. But they've still got those big money TV deals. So there you go. Scott Young, very sad day for wrestling. I don't like the X to AEW thing. I find it boring. But the best signing they can make right now is William Regal. Oh man, for sure. Like you think about what he could do on screen. You think about what he could do behind the scenes. That's what surprises me so much, because he's a guy that you can really just slot anywhere in the company. Like he can do it all, can't he? So it was really surprising seeing that. Mikey Spin Kick r/Cultaholic checking in, Adam. Oh, hello, mate. That's from our subreddit, reddit.com/r/Cultaholic. Nice to see you. Do you think they will release Taker or Shawn? I'd be very, very surprised. I mean, never say never and everything, Jack. Because you do never know with this company, but no, I really, really doubt it. Who knows? But I can't see that. Can't see that happening. So I just saw Insomniac Kingdom there. Road Dogg Billy Gunn reunion. Yeah, it could happen now. It could happen. Jimbo Kablamo, depressing. Need some laughs. Go on, get your Willy out. Thanks very much for that comment. Much appreciated. An interesting tweet just coming in from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. And again, make of this what you will. Yeah, a lot is coming on this one. So I don't know if that means a lot of interesting backstage information. That's the way that I'm reading it personally. Or if it means that there are a lot more releases. I think it's I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of that, but I don't know. I don't know. Make of that what you will. Again, yeah, a lot is coming on this one. So who knows? Who knows? I'm getting people asking again for the full list, so I will do that momentarily. Thank you to everybody, by the way, helping me through this. Tom, Ross, Owen, all helping out with information, feeding me information basically as things happen. So thank you very much to those three and anybody else who might pop up. Can you see NXT UK 2.0 happening? Says Good Key. I don't know what to make of NXT UK. I really, really don't know. Because the business model has changed so much. The NXT UK was started essentially to get as many talent on the books and away from the indies as possible to I guess stifle the competition. And they were planning on launching NXT brands all around the world. Now that's not the strategy anymore. I don't know what's going to happen with NXT UK. It feels like a horrible thing to speculate on, doesn't it? I really don't know. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me massively if they took some of the bigger names over to the US and maybe, I mean, they've got deals with broadcasters there and distributors. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if they dropped it. I'll say that much. Matthew Hutchison, thank you so much. Saw Triple H, Regal and Steph in a Chili's once before a live event. Regal told me to go punch Triple H and he sold it in front of everyone. One of my fondest childhood memories. Sucks. Hope he lands somewhere he's appreciated. That's a lovely story. I mean, like Triple H, when he comes back to work, it's going to look like a very, very different place, isn't it? It's going to be a very different place. So I'll go through that list one more time. A mix of backstage personnel as well as a few on-screen wrestlers as well. So arguably the biggest name from backstage. He's there. You can see him in the thumbnail. William Regal did the talent development, head of global recruiting. Not been on TV since just before TakeOver 36, but he's been with the company since 2000, so around 22 years. You got Chris Guy, aka Ace Steel. He was the original trainer of CM Punk. He's been with the company since 2019. Dave Kapoor, Ranjin Singh. He's the former senior vice president of creative who got moved to NXT full-time to work on creative there. He's now being released. He's the former on-screen manager of the Great Khali, Ranjin Singh, you may remember. Ryan Katz, who's a long-serving NXT producer. And then you've got Kathy Carino, aka Allison Danger, who joined WWE as a performance center coach in October, so she's not been there for very long at all. You've also got Scott Armstrong, joined WWE in 2006. I can't believe he's been there for that long. Came in as a referee for ECW. He was there until he was furloughed in 2020 at the start of the pandemic, but came back in October. And he's obviously the brother of Road Dogg as well, who has also been released. He was a writer on SmackDown following that New Age Outlaws nostalgia run that we all loved from 2016 to 2018. And then he was moved to the Performance Center to work on NXT. And obviously things have been shaken up massively, and he is now also gone. And then on the on-screen wrestlers side of things, you've got Timothy Thatcher, who joined the company in 2020. He feuded with Riddle, with Ciampa, had some really great matches. The Fight Pit stuff, awesome. And then he was written off TV in August. And we hadn't seen him since, but he had been doing backstage coaching. The same as another release, Danny Burch, also had been written off WWE TV or hadn't appeared on WWE TV, went into a coaching role, and former NXT Tag Team Champion with Oni Lorcan, and also finally Hideki Suzuki, brought in as a performance center coach in April of last year, and then he joined Diamond Mine. So they've lost a member as well. And they lost their bloody title last night as well, the Cruiserweight title, obviously. But yeah, really, Really, really crap stuff. Devil says, this is the worst birthday ever. How's your nan? She's grand, thank you for asking. The Peen Man. I know everyone wants people to go to AEW, but I'd love to see Timothy Thatcher in NWA. He'd be a great fit for them. He would, yeah, for sure. I can see him doing great stuff in Japan as well. But yeah, no, NWA is a great shout for Timothy Thatcher, just because he feels like he's very old school, but also quite contemporary. Like, he mixes it really, really well. But he's awesome, isn't he? He's a really, really talented guy. Philip, it just shows you like how different NXT is now. They're really, really focusing on sort of more character-based stuff rather than proper in-ring work rate wrestlers. You know what I mean? Philip F. WWE is selling. NXT as we loved it is completely done. If Triple H had any self-respect left, he'd leave WWE now and go and partner up with Ring of Honor. Well, you know what? I don't want to sit here and like slag off NXT because I did the live stream yesterday for NXT New Year's Evil, and I thought it was an excellent show and a real mix of talent on there. But it's just different, isn't it? It's different, and I understand why people get so frustrated with the business practices of WWE when these bulk releases happen. Tom's just mentioned the number one trending topic in the US is William Regal, followed by hashtag WWE releases. Again, Sean Ross Sapp tweeting, 10 minutes ago, yeah, a lot is coming on this one. So I'm going to stay live for a bit longer just to see where this goes, because I don't know if more names are going to be added to this list. Fingers crossed again. Not. Nola Gale says, oh, for Christ's sake, in general about this. Yeah, agreed. Patrick Mitchell, it's wild that for a short time it seemed Thatcher may have worked in WWE, but not under Vince. He's another guy that you really just, you can't imagine doing that well on the main roster, and NXT's so different. If they don't want to use him there, where else is there for him to be used? I mean, he was coaching and everything. He was coaching, but apparently they've got enough coaches already, so yeah, it sucks. He was really, really talented. Really talented. Lee Purdy, feel like Regal would be a great mouthpiece for Anthony Ogogo. Also, if they do close NXT UK, I'll be sad, but the UK Indies will explode. Well, excuse me. Like, UK Indies are still doing great stuff. There are so many great promotions. Progress just relaunching with new owners. They've released their upcoming match card with some really, really big names on it. But certainly NXT UK and WWE just mass signing so many talent really hurt the UK indie scene. I think it's difficult to argue with that. And various promotions unable to operate in the way that they were because of WWE's mass signings. There's another release. It's another backstage name, one that I'm not actually familiar with. Sarah Cummins, who held the post of Senior Vice President of Consumer Products, has also been released by the company. That's from PWInsider.com. She'd been with the company since December 2018. And had worked for the New York Road Runners Club for over 9 years before shifting over to WWE. So that's Sarah Cummins, who has also been released. It looks like we might not be done yet, unfortunately. PBH, NXT UK 2.0, time to hire all the footy stars. Gallius, I can't imagine that Tony Khan wouldn't pay Regal a huge sum of money to work as a talent scout and help raise up the next generation of AEW stars. I mean, they've got so much talent already. You say the next generation of AEW stars, it's obviously something that they've got to be mindful of as the years go by. But they do have so many talent already, so I don't know if there's a full-time role in that. I don't know. I'm not the man to answer that question. The Gaming Fox, Vince never fails to disappoint me. Neptune Bartender, awful losses. How many trainers are left in NXT? I don't know off the top of my head. But obviously, I guess with fewer people there, with fewer wrestlers there, because they have cut so many talent, you need, as a result of that, fewer trainers. Patrick Mitchell, can we have a War Games in the chat? Feel free. A lovely tribute to William Regal. Ryan Best, apologies if it's a lot to ask, but maybe you could live stream AEW Watch Along after all this horrible release news. I have to get to bed at some point, I'm afraid, mate. I'd love to. I truly would, but Apologies, Ryan. Chris Martin's 5 days into the new year, truly appalling. As someone who gave up on WWE after the first round of pandemic-era releases, remember those, a lifetime ago. It feels like a lifetime ago, mate. And never looked back. It's not that hard. I mean, yeah, you do you. I still enjoy a lot of what WWE and even NXT what they produce. But yeah, I guess vote with your remote, vote with your wallet, right? But that's 1990. What do we think this means for Regal's son, who fights on NXT UK? Of course, Charlie Dempsey, who's down there. I mean, he's ridiculously talented as well. Like I've watched pretty much everything that he's done in NXT UK because I've been so interested by it. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think it'll affect his chances. And he's one of the names that I would think that if they were to shut down NXT UK, that they would probably shift over to the States. But yeah, that must be crap for him. That's not very nice at all, is it? Cleaver slips. I'm sad they didn't give Regal a goodbye after everything. Yeah, right. Totally. That was it, wasn't it? He was just written off. The Karrion Kross thing. Before the match with Samoa Joe, he was just written off and that was it. And he's been with the company for near 22 years. That is bonkers, isn't it? I didn't really think about that. Maybe they'll do something for him on NXT next week or so. Yeah, that sucks, doesn't it? I guess WWE probably doesn't want to draw attention to these just constant firings, do they? Sucks, and it's obviously the strategy, but when even Regal doesn't get a mic outro, not cool. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. A few more people asking again for the list of names, which I will go through now. First off, arguably the biggest name on the list, certainly the guy who's been with the company for the longest, William Regal. On-screen general manager of NXT, former director of talent development, head of global recruiting, wore a lot of hats. He's been with the company since 2000, has been released. You've got Chris Guy, a.k.a. Ace Steel, Dave Kapoor, a.k.a. Ranjin Singh, Ryan Katz, you've got Kathy Carino, you have got, sorry, I'm scrolling like mad here so I don't forget anybody, Scott Armstrong, you've got Road Dogg, and Sarah Cummins. They're all of the backstage personnel in various positions across WWE and primarily NXT in the Performance Center. And then on-screen talent who have been confirmed as being released. Timothy Thatcher, Hideki Suzuki, and Danny Burch. Before, a few of those, Thatcher was a very prominent face on NXT for a while. Danny Burch, obviously, former NXT Tag Team Champion. And then Suzuki, who has not too long been with the Diamond Mine faction alongside Roddy and the Creeds and Ivy Nile. So yeah, really rubbish stuff. And I can see people there in the comments saying, look at Raquel's Twitter. And I believe they're referring to a tweet that I read a little bit earlier saying, the people who believed in me, who helped me see a light when it was all going dark, who shared their wisdom and gave me an opportunity, who always felt like family. I love you all. We will always be family. So I think people are sort of assuming that means that she's been released by the company. I'm not sure that's the case at all. I think she's probably saying goodbye and paying her respects to the people who have just been released by the company. That's the way that I've read it, but maybe more, hopefully no more develops on Raquel. I really like Raquel Gonzalez, but I think she's just saying goodbye to the people who have been released by the company. Professor Allison Danger, there, one of the people who have just been released, has written on Twitter, "Today is tough, but I'm surrounded with so much love. 30 days, Danger, LFG," which I believe means let's flipping go. Obviously 30 days referring to the no compete clause that NXT staff and wrestlers have to adhere to. So we will update you as soon as we know anything more on these. I'm sure it'll be a pretty packed news video in the morning. Hopefully things slow down. Hopefully you don't see my face again tonight. There's a few more super chats to get through. Thank you ever so much again to people who have chosen to support us tonight. And always say this when these releases happen, but save your cash and go and buy a t-shirt for somebody who's been released, somebody that you somebody who you've enjoyed watching or appreciate the work of in the past. Cleaver Slips, thank you very much. Homie G3, so many releases. Odds of a new company starting. I don't know. I mean, it's fortunate in that there are more prominent wrestling promotions for wrestlers to work, but I'm not sure that we're just going to get a promotion full of released WWE and NXT stars, if that's what you're asking. Lemon Lees, Regal helped make the old NXT so special, in my opinion. Hope everyone released today lands on their feet and has good things ahead of them. Totally, that's a very nice comment, Lemon. Thank you very much. Lee Hallowell, if WWE is serious about selling, NBC Universal would be the most likely buyer, right? Since they've already got the Peacock deal and Raw and NXT being on the USA Network. I see so many companies speculated about. It's not my area of expertise, but NBC is one that I see floated about a lot, and you see Fox and you see Disney and all sorts of stuff, but I'm no expert on that sort of thing. Sunil Mystery, I'm not sure what's happened to World of Sport on ITV. Good chance to get this going again with Regal and the amount of TV-ready talent. Well, WWE signed a lot of the more prominent names in the UK. Is the problem there? A lot of the people who were featured on WOS, World of Sport, a lot of those ended up getting signed and going to NXT UK. And yeah, I mean, I can understand it. Obviously, that finished. They did the pilot way back when. What was that? 2016, I think. 2016. They did the pilot, and then they brought it back as a short-lived series, and then chose not to renew it, and that was that. Any excuse to watch more wrestling and introduce more wrestling to people who may not be familiar with it. That was the great thing about World of Sport coming back to ITV. It was all these fresh eyes, or even lapsed fans, people who used to watch World of Sport back in the day, who could check it out again and see how wrestling's changed. And it could have been really something special, and unfortunately it didn't turn out that way. Heavy Metal Chris, how can they say that AEW isn't an alternative when that's literally where they've driven me? Well, that's fair enough, mate. I mean, again, vote with your remote, mate. If that's what you enjoy more. I like it all. I really do enjoy the vast majority of the wrestling that I see on TV. But I understand why people are looking elsewhere, away from WWE. So before I go, I'm going to read that list one more time because things appear to be slowing down a little bit. So thank you very much if you've been watching from the start. Thank you for all of your support. Really do tremendously appreciate it. So let's go through those names once more. We'll start with Backstage personnel, NXT Performance Center staff. William Regal, first of all. You got Chris Guy, a.k.a. Ace Steel. Dave Kapoor, a.k.a. Ranjin Singh. Ryan Katz. You got Kathy Carino, a.k.a. Allison Danger. On top of that, you got Scott Armstrong. You have got Road Dogg as well, another very prominent name, a name very, very close to Triple H. And finally, Sarah Cummins, who, a name again that I'm unfamiliar with, held the post of Senior Vice President of Consumer Products. And then on screen, you got Timothy Thatcher, Hideki Suzuki, and Danny Burch. So Thatcher, of course, he had been written off NXT, but hadn't been with the company especially long at all, signed in 2020. Suzuki came in as a coach and then joined the Diamond Mine stable, and then Danny Burch, who was written off TV, or they had to vacate the NXT tag team titles, him and Oney Lorcan, way back in 2020 when they were tag team champions. One half of the Bret Am Brawlers, a guy who we haven't seen on TV for too long, for a while. Sorry, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna leave you there. Hopefully that's the end of it for tonight. But Sean Rossap is certainly hinting that there's a lot of interesting stuff that is going to take place. Yeah. So Thank you very much. Sorry to have to do another one of these videos. I don't like them either. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very soon. All the best. Goodbye.